Okay, I'm back. I have everything cut out. Sorry if my head got in the way there. This is what I wanted to show you. This is going to be the bottom layer, as it was the messiest as far as where I got the glitter. None of this is going to show. And I cut that from there. And then this is the better layer, and that was cut from there. I wanted to show you here where my embossing didn't quite cover up that line. This Artistro gold will just cover that line up and is the same color. No one will ever know unless they watch this video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start gluing things down just to kind of show you how things are. And I've got my gold cardstock that I'm going to glue this large black cardstock to. The gold again was 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And the black piece is 6 1/2 inches long by 4 7/16 inches wide. And I just want to kind of get that centered. Now I would put my white down, and this is normally where I would put like a rubber stamp saying or a die cut saying, but I found I didn't have any for the 4th of July that would be large enough to cover the area I wanted. So while I was off camera and cutting these, I went to my Cricut and I found this Happy 4th of July. It was a cutout item. However, I changed it to pen and then had my fine tip black pen draw it. And then I colored it in with my alcohol ink markers. And I used the gold for the stars. And now I'm going to glue that down. If you have sayings or die cuts, rubber stamps, anything that would work, that would be great. But if you have a Cricut, that's also on the subscription. And now I'm just going to lay this down. And while I have it out here, I'm going to glue it to the card too. Might as well. I normally don't do this until my last step. In case I mess something up with this, then I haven't wasted my card base. But I'm pretty confident today. So we'll shall see how that goes. And that can just sit down. Now I'm also going to take my rubber stamp while we're here and I have my scrap paper out. And I'm using the kitchen sink stamps that I had told you, the Friends of the Moon Mini 005. They're clear art stamps. And I took the fireworks that were on there and just put them on an acrylic block. And I'm going to use the GinaK Blue Raspberry, and I'm just going to kind of hit and miss with the blue. And then the GinaK Cherry Red, and then just cover the rest of it in red. And I'm going to pray that this turns out. And we're just going to stick it in the corner of the envelope. And hey, not too bad actually. And I'll set that aside to dry. Clean these off with a little bit of water. And my old wash rag. They're stained. I used a Stays-On red on these, and I should not have done that, but they're well loved. Okay, now this piece that has the larger square cut out, you want to take your 4x4 piece of black cardstock, and it's just going to be slightly slightly larger than this. And we're going to glue this right down. And it's going to have just a very, very, very narrow outline of the black. And now I can use my block over here and hold that down. Now I said this one is going to get totally covered up. We only needed to do that to get that large square. It also gives a little bit more dimension to this. Now this we're going to glue down right on top of that. So if you could figure out a way to just stamp or heat emboss just that large square in the middle, I suppose you could cut it out and then stamp just on that image. That would work perfect. We're just going to lay this down right on top. And now I cut some scraps of paper just to give this a little bit more support. You don't really have to do this if you wanted to lay it flat, but since I want to make these layers, it was kind of important. Now these ones aren't going to have the edge. I cut it just so that it fits inside. And I have my little block for that to hold that down. And get that set. There we go. Anything that does show, I'll cut off here in just a moment. And the same for this one. Yeah, I'm gonna have a little corner showing there that I need to cut off. All right, get my scissors and just cut the black. You could make a larger layer and have the black outline that you do on the others if you would like, but that's not necessary. Just to hold that down for a moment. Okay, now we get to start coloring. All right, now I'm going to take my tomato red, and I like to use the fine point. And you see these in the corner. I'm going to start coloring in that big corner piece here. And then I'm going to do every other one and leave those white. And on these ones over here, every other stripe is going to be red. And in here, this inner piece, I am going to make red. And then these little squares here, you don't really need to do these. These are going to be covered up, but I am doing it just because if something should happen and this layer shifts, you would see it. And I'll do the same over here. The inner layer gets colored red. Now I'll show you some of the blue. These squares over here. Oh, you see, and I just colored over my line. So you can get out your gold and cover over that. And then over here, the blue is going to be in this. And you can change up the colors. This would make a beautiful Easter card, perhaps, if you did it in pastel spring colors. When I first saw this stamp, I thought of a quilt, which is why I did it in these colors. It just made me think of a quilt pattern. But I have colored this offline to save some time. So let me bring those pieces over now to show you how they look once they're all completed. That's how the back looks. And then these are how the two squares look. Now these squares, I'm going to use the foam tape to pop this up. Sticking to my fingers. It's really nice sticky. I'm trying to think what brand this is. I might have got it from Simon Says. I'm not really sure. Now with this one, you can choose to place it square, just like it was on the original stamp. But I'm gonna put it, I call it cattywampus, but a little angled. And that's how I'm gonna put that down. Okay, gonna angle it. Just so. And now this other layer, we're gonna pop up also. Now you could put it cattywampus too, but it pretty much covers up the coloring that you did on here. So I am just gonna put the square just like that. Just as it came on the original stamp. Now we can put this on our card. And I love this Tombow multi-adhesive. It just works the best for me. I guess it's what I'm used to. It's the first glue that I discovered at a scrapbooking convention, and it works for bigger items. And I'm just putting that down flat. I could have chose to pop that up too, but I don't want it too high dimension-wise, because I still want to be able to mail it. Now we get to embellish it with all of these pearls. I also discovered these sequins. I think they're the wrong color, but we'll see what looks best. Now for these little circles here, I'm going to get out my GinaK Connect glue for that. I have this in both GinaK and Art Glitter Glue, and today it's the GinaK. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on each of these circles that are showing. And then just take a little pearl. These pearls are quite old. They've been in my stash for a while, so they don't have the hold power that they once did if you just put them on without glue. They might for something temporary. Get my close to my heart wax pencil here. I did find these on their website last night. So I'll either order from them or I'll wait till April when I go to the Adventures in Stamping Scrapbook Convention. It's going to be held in Akron, Ohio at the John Knight Convention Center. Well, come on. You just come over here for now. See if they're there. If they're not, then I'll order them online. The pencils last quite a while, but I use it a lot. And what's nice is you can just put it in a pencil sharpener and sharpen it right up. I know there are tools that do this, but they do have a little sticky on the back, so they don't want to come off as easily as they should, and they stick. You could put glittery gems in here. I know they make flat back Swarovski crystals. You could even use glossy accents, or even UV resin that's mixed with a little bit of glitter, and then you just drop it on with a toothpick and then harden it with a UV light. That works awesome. Okay, we have those on. Now I want to put pearls in these 4 squares also. Or these 4 circles. In the corner of the square. And this glue will dry clear, so you won't be able to see it. Now I'm going to add some of the, I might go with these. I'm going to put one, and these are sticky, so I can just take them off. Put one in each of these 4 corners. Oh, lost the sticky on that one. All right, back to glue. Kind of looks like a quilted flag. I still get the vibe from this die, Stamp and Die. Now, one in the center here. There, I don't know if I need any more sparkle. No, I think I'm done with the sparkles and the accents. This has plenty. And that's the card for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you can get this stamp and die, it is still available on their website. It's the Stamplistic, it's just called Squared. It was the Cut Above Club kit from July of 2019. And there are different ways, showing you different colors and options to do this. It's wonderful. And that is all for today. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this process today. And hope you have a great rest of your day. Good morning, one and all. Today I'm going to be playing with another Stamplistic A Cut Above Club kit. Yesterday I made this card using the kit that we're going to be using today. I made this kind of in like a quilt because I had this wonderful rubber stamp that I got. I think it's in a Spellbinders kit. It was in the Quilt of Life, Friends Are the Stitches That Hold It Together. And I thought, I want to do the same card, but I'm sorely lacking in 4th of July holiday celebration cards. So today we're going to be making a 4th of July card. And for that, we need the Stamplistic. It's a red rubber stamp on a nice cling back. This is the Squared. It was the July 2019 kit that came with the Cut Above Club that I used to belong to. And it also comes, you can still purchase these. I checked online, and they have the different die cuts that you need for the stamp. And today we're only going to be using the rubber stamp. And these, let's see, which ones do I want here? We want this square. And let me see. This square. And that's all we're going to be using out of this kit today. You can use this to cut the different shapes out of the rubber stamp. And that's what I did yesterday's card. I made this in several layers. But today we're only going to do a couple layers, so we only need those parts. So we can set the rest of those aside. And we're going to, well, let me tell you what you need first. We need a 4" by 4" square of black paper. We need a 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 piece of white cardstock. A piece of black cardstock at 6 1/2 by 4 7/16. Went a little smaller on that today. And then I'm using some more of the Spellbinders Gold Mirror cardstock. And this measures 6 3/4 inches by 4 3/4 inches. Then your cardstock card base, which is 10 inches by 7 inches. I score it in half at the 5" line, fold it in half, increase it with my bone folder. And an envelope, because we're going to decorate the envelope today. And for the envelope decoration, I'm going to be using some fireworks stamps that came from Kitchen Sink Stamps. This is the Friends of the Moon Mini 005. And I love that. And we'll show you later how those are going to work. For the envelope only, we're going to be using GinaK Designs Blue Raspberry and Cherry Red. So we can set those aside. For making the actual card, we only need Versamark watermark stamp pad or any embossing stamp pad that you might have. And then we're going to use the Wow Metallic Gold Rich Superfine embossing powder. And this works really great. And to coordinate with that, I have my Artistro permanent marker pen extra fine point in the gold. I'm using this one because this pen matches the color of this embossing ink perfectly. So if I don't get a part embossed perfectly, I can cover it up with this. Or if when I'm coloring in my design, I get some ink where I don't want it, then I can use this. For the ink colors today, I'm using my Ohuhu art markers again. And I'm using the R872 in Tomato and the B878 in Ultramarine. Of course, I'll be using my Tombow glue. I have some foam tape, which is, I believe, a 1/2 inch wide. And then just some embellishments that I'm going to be using. A strip of pearls. And then I have these gold sequins. I believe these came from Joann Fabrics. They're kind of like an upside down sequin, but they have a lot of nice bling. Now, you can set almost everything aside. I do have a piece of white cardstock that I'm going to be using in my Misty stamping platform. And I'm just going to put this down. And I have already taken out the foam pad that comes in this stamp. Because of this rubber stamp being so large, you have to take that out. And I'm just going to sit this down in there. Put it in my Misty. And then I'm going to take my Versamark and use. You see, I've already used it earlier, so it still had some Versamark. Uh-oh. It's not wanting to stay right now, so let's take that down. All right, where is my... All right, I'm just going to put a little bit of Darice in there, and we're going to put it right there. Right there. And that'll help hold that in a little bit better. I think I need to clean my Misty a lot better than I have been. And I'm just going to put the Versamark ink down here. And my handy dandy improvised Chucky tool. And we only need to stamp 2 images today. Sometimes when you're doing these A Cut Above kits from Stamplistic, you can end up doing 5 or 6 layers. But we're going to make a 3-layered card, but we're only going to stamp twice, and I'm going to show you how you do that. Do a little bit more. Although this shows purple in my lighting here, it's actually clear. Oh, that looks better. Now I'm going to turn it over. And you can see this was just a scratch paper where I drew some colors on. And stamp this up again. And my furnace is going to be coming on several times today. It was only 16 degrees when I woke up this morning at 6 o'clock. And I don't think it's much more than 24 right now. I love winter and snow, but I'm not so fond of these cold temperatures. Do that again. Whoops, that's going to be good. Oh yeah, that looks good. I will set that aside and I'll clean that stamp off when I go for a break. Now I'm going to take the Wow embossing powder and just kind of sprinkle it on all over. And then I'm just going to slide it around. Now I could have taken my Swiffer cloth and dusted this all off, but I'm not real concerned about it running over the edges. I'm just going to take a little brush here because we're going to be cutting these out. So anything on the outside I'm not really worried about. And on the inside I'm pretty much going to be covering up. But I'll try and get it off where I really don't want it. See, and I just erased that, but that's fine. In that spot right here that I just erased a little bit, I can use my gold pen to cover that up. And I'm going to flick it a little bit. Okay, pick up my powder. See if I can do it today without spilling it all over like I usually do. Okay. And that's pretty good. Not too bad. I'm not known for being graceful. Anything spills or got broke, it was usually me. Now I'm going to use my Darice heat tool here to heat emboss this. And I'm going to turn it on. And I start on the back until it gets warm enough. Okay, and now we'll start. Just warming up now. One of the neatest parts about embossing is when it gets warm enough and you see that colors start changing, like right there. Beautiful, shiny gold. You could have done this in silver, or you could have even just stamped it in regular ink and that would have worked fine. But I'm using the gold kind of, well, for the added sparkle that I love, but also kind of as a dam, so that when I'm coloring, my ink stays right inside. I just love when that changes. I decided to keep filming when I have my heat tool on because I want to see how loud it actually is on the video, and if it's too annoying, I'll do it off camera from now on. But I wanted to kind of show you the process today, how to do that. And that's good. And now I have a metal can beside my desk that I just set that down in. Now, on this kit, there is a square if you are comfortable lining it up and cutting out the outside. You can easily do that, but since this is just a square, I'm going to cut it out with my scissors, just right along the edges. I find this much easier because when I try to cut out the whole thing, it kind of goes off center and my line is cut in half. And now you don't even need to buy the dies for this set, though I highly recommend it because when we get to the other parts of it, that's when the dies come in handy, because the way I'm going to put this together today, I don't want to have to cut through the middle of the card to get the piece I need. Just like that. And I really should have used my Swiffer cloth, as I've got embossing powder where I don't want it, but most of that is going to be covered up with our inks, so it doesn't really matter. And if you ended up with gold in a spot that I want to keep white, you could use your white gel pen. I like these Uniball Signo Broad in the white pigment ink, because that'll cover it up. All right, you can set this aside. Put my scissors away because I don't need those for now. Now you're going to take one of them aside, because one of these, you're not going to see most of it. So whichever one looks the worst, that's going to go on the bottom. And on the bottom one, this is where I'm going to use this die, and I'm going to cut out this center piece right here. And then on the one that's going to be showing, which sounds odd, I'm going to cut out just this piece. So I'm going to go die cut those out using my Cuttlebug, and I'll be back in just a minute to show you one I started yesterday in the patriotic theme also. But for this, I used the GinaK colors of the blue raspberry and the cherry red. And then I cut 3 images. I just did black ink. I used the black Onyx ink to stamp the rubber stamp, but I did it 3 times so that I could have some remained white. And then I just shaded the color blue on the one die cut and color red on the other die cut, and then used my gold marker pen. haven't added any embellishments to it yet, but this just shows you another option that you can use the different dies from that set to make a different look for this card. All right, that's it. Have a great day.